Hey swingers, welcome back to another exciting...
Hold up, Logan. Let me open this can of Coke first.
Dimitri, edit that out in post. Hey swingers, welcome back to another exciting episode of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Microsoft Dream Station U. I'm your boy Logan.
And I'm your other boy, Seth.
Who we got playing on the whatever console this is. Last time you saw us, we were about to enter this shrine for the first time and haven't done this before off screen because we screwed up the recording.
Yeah. So, I've never done this before, as we know.
Not a mess.
So I have no idea what to expect here.
I literally don't know what this shrine is, no joke.
Oh, it's the bomb shrine.
Oh. Jabai Shrine. So anyways, guys, today, instead of talking about the gameplay, which I don't care about, we're going to talk about Seth's car. Because boy howdy.
Ooh, story time.
Story time.
Would you like to tell the gentlemen and ladies how you came upon me?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll start at the beginning, and by the beginning, I mean like December, January.
Okay.
In roughly January or December, Seth was having some minor issues with his vehicle. I don't remember what they were. Do you remember what they were? I remember how you rectified them, but I don't remember what the problem was.
Something pilot bearing making noise, something.
I'm not talking about your trans problems.
Oh, yes. Alright. My steering rack was leaking fluid.
Yeah, okay. So Seth's steering rack was leaking fluid on his vehicle that we're not going to name right now. Because we don't trust you. And so Seth went through, he bought a steering rack from a local company, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you buy it from the same company twice?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So he bought it from a local company, and the steering rack came in, and, you know, he takes out the old one, which took a lot of effort. I don't remember if I helped with that or not. Well, that was unfortunate.
No, it's okay, I got this.
Oh, you have square bombs. I didn't realize.
I have square bombs.
Okay. So I don't remember if I helped take out the steering rack, but you had a lot of trouble with it, partially because of the tie ends, right?
Yes, they would not come off.
Yeah, I think I do remember helping you get the tie rod ends off, I think. So there was a lot of difficulty getting the old steering rack off, because of the tie rod ends. But eventually, you know, we did manage to get it off. And Seth goes to put in his new steering rack, and it's the entire time there's quite a bit of difficulty.
Well, that's not like the whole story, because the first time I ordered one.
Well, Seth, that's what I'm getting to. I'm getting to that, I promise.
Okay.
There was quite a bit of difficulty getting the first steering rack he ordered in. And eventually, after a while, he decided to call it quits and try and figure out what the problem is rather than just continuing to try and put the steering rack in. And eventually, we discover that the problem is it's a steering rack for a similar vehicle, but not quite the same. And I'm pretty sure you had ordered the right one, but they sent you the wrong one, right?
That is correct.
So they had sent the wrong steering rack, which was unfortunate.
Supremely unfortunate. I think I cried a little.
I don't recall that, but I'm going to pretend you cried a lot. Dimitri, edit in him crying for us.
The sound of Ritz Bits is definitely the sound of crying.
Close enough. So, we send back the old steering rack, which was a bit awkward because we had already opened it up and gotten it a little dirty, and so when we put it back in the box and put it in the back of my car, you know, we had to make sure to lay out some plastic so that we wouldn't pour oil on my back seat. And so we took it up to UPS or FedEx or whatever, shipped it back, and then Seth ordered a new one, and they sent it.
And that one fit, and that one was also cheaper, which was great.
Yeah. So Seth did end up getting a new one, and we had difficulty getting that one in still, but that was just because of the tie rod ends again. But we did end up getting it in.
That's what she said.
You didn't say anything when I said getting off, but getting it in, that's what we're gonna bring it up. Okay.
Hey. I never said I was good at making jokes. I'm just gonna make them. Okay?
Do you need some paper mache and some other crafting supplies to make these jokes?
I think I might.
The joke was awful.
It was.
People aren't gonna laugh at that.
They're totally gonna laugh at that.
I hope not.
Me too.
So then what month is that? It was last month, right?
Yeah.
So we replaced the steering rack in December or January. It was right after I finished working on my car. And then a couple months later, Seth had to work on his transmission a bit, which was a bit of a nightmare, but that's not relevant to this story right now.
I forgot I didn't have the glider.
I was wondering why you didn't pull it out, because I forgot you didn't have it either.
Oops.
So, yeah. The only part of the transmission story that's relevant is just that
it was down for like a month or two.
Yeah, Seth, after taking like 2 weeks to get his steering rack on, his car was then down for another month or two to do his trans work.
Mostly because I was waiting on parts the whole time.
Yes. Also, you put that one part in backwards.
I did put a throwout bearing in backwards. I did boomf that, but I quickly figured that one out.
Took a couple of days. I don't know if I called that quick. Anyway, so jump to about, 2-3 weeks ago now? 3, maybe even 4 at this point?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Seth tells me that he's going over to his buddy's house to work on his buddy's car. I don't remember what you were going to do on it, do you?
We were gonna put coilovers on it.
Okay, so they were going to put coilovers on his buddy's car, who has the same manufacturer as Seth's car.
Mm-hmm.
Different model. Same year? Different year?
Same model, different year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Seth's is a 97. That's somewhat relevant, I guess, at this point, because it's just to point out it's an old car. Manual transmission, which is why Seth was doing trans work on it. So he was going over to his buddy's house to help him do some coilovers on his car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just hanging out doing my thing, which was, I think, nothing for that day. And our dad gets a phone call from Seth, and then he comes and talks to me and says, Seth's getting a tow. I'm like, I need a little more context than that, Dad. You're gonna have to fill me in on a bit more details. He's like, well, his power steering went out. I'm like, well, that's not good. Is he okay? And he's like, well, he sounded okay. I'm like, wow, I'm glad you asked him.
Yeah, no, like, Dad did not tell you that I sounded pissed.
That I could have guessed, though. And I'm like, okay, so wait, what do you mean his power steering went off? Obviously, I understand what that means, but my question is, has Seth even started looking at it? Does he have any idea what happened? Where is he? Does he need a ride home? Because at this point, this was in the middle of May 2020, and if you guys don't know what happened in May 2020, this video must have been put out in like 2026 or something. Because May 2020 was when COVID-19 was still around. It currently still is when we're making this video. So, if Seth's getting a tow, he might not be able to ride in the vehicle with the driver, because of the virus. And it turns out that was the case. So, when my dad wasn't being very helpful about finding out if we needed to go pick up Seth, I just texted Seth, I'm like, dude, just call me. And then so Seth calls me, and he's like, I'm like, okay, Seth, where are you? He's like, and he tells me, I'm like, okay, I know exactly where that is. It was right after a curve in the road, which...
Super bad news bears.
Yeah, so the curve was going to the right, so Seth's car was angled slightly to the left because of just the way curves work. Seth's car compared to the direction of the road. Even if you're following the road, it's gonna. If your power steering goes out and you continue going straight, you're gonna end up going to the left of the road. So when I find out when Seth's power steering went out, he was therefore aimed at oncoming traffic.
Not fun.
Not fun, I'm sure. And that could have gone very poorly for him. But he managed to get his car to turn one click, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Oh my god, I'm still mad about that.
Right? He managed to get his car to turn one click over, one thud over even, and that was enough to get him across into the lane next to him and then up on a curve where he was able to come to a stop. Fully on the easement. So Seth tells me where he is, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just head over now. He's like, oh, you probably don't need to. It's, you know, the tow truck driver's not gonna be here for a while anyway. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sure the tow truck driver's not gonna be a while. But on the other hand side, do you want to sit outside in the middle of May and not run your car for air conditioning, because who knows if that's going to end up causing extra damage to your car or not? He's like, well, I guess that makes sense. So I go out. It's a 20-minute drive to his location. I pick him up, and we sit and wait for the tow truck, which is really awkward because there's no good spot for us to wait for the tow truck and still be able to see the car. So that was a little awkward, but we made it work. And then the tow truck guy shows up, and getting the car onto the tow truck itself was a nightmare. Because, as I said before, the steering, when your power steering goes out, you can't steer very well. And for some reason on Seth's car, when his power steering went out, you would be able to turn the wheel, and then it would jam after about, a 15-degree turn?
Yeah.
Of the steering wheel, not of the wheels themselves, but of the steering wheel. It would jam after about 15 degrees, and then you would have to put in a lot of extra effort to get past that jam.
And it would clunk over another 15 degrees and stop.
Yeah. So, to be able to, every 15-degree turn ends up taking several seconds because you have to put in a lot of extra work. Did we ever figure out why that was happening?
So, funny story. It's because, truth be told, my power steering pump, it blew up.
So it was because of a catastrophic failure, not just because of a regular failure.
Yes. And that sent shrapnel into the power steering rack, which caused it to, lock up.
So is the power steering rack the same thing as the regular steering rack?
Yes.
Okay.
But
we're going to get to that in just a second, boys.
Because,
and girls. Hopefully and girls.
Grills.
Grills.
George Foreman.
Yes. The best grill.
Continue.
Get the pitchfork.
No, I don't want the pitchfork.
What?
It's weak.
You're weak.
Like paper mache.
So, we start to get his car up onto the flatbed, the tow truck, and there's a problem because just because of how far Seth's car is onto the easement and how far the tow truck can back up and actually put, its flatbed down. When he starts to pull Seth's car up, the back left wheel is going to end up off the curb for several feet, or for probably about 1.5 foot actually, before it ends up making it to the back of the flatbed. None of the other wheels have that problem, but the back left one does. So it was a lot of effort lining up the front of the car as far right onto the flatbed as possible so that the back left wheel wouldn't be in the air as long, and then finding a block that we could put under that wheel. And then, so that the guy could go to... Oh, I expected that to be like all the other logs where it just breaks up into little pieces and you're stuck.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. In any case, this tow truck driver was awesome,
Dude, he was so chill. He was a very helpful man.
He was the best.
He even helped us push it into the back of the driveway after dropping it off. It was super appreciated.
Mans was the best.
I honestly, when I had to get, my car towed a couple years back, that tow truck driver was super cool too. I've had fortunate dealings with tow truck drivers, which, having to deal with the tow truck driver is unfortunate, but at least, had a good guy.
They made it easy by not being awful.
Yeah. And so yeah. So Seth brings it home. We take a look at it. And there's no major damage to the front end of the car, thankfully, even though he, kind of rode into that curb kind of hard, I would assume.
Yeah, I think now's about the time to tell the story from my perspective before we get underneath the car.
Oh, okay.
So I was going down the road on a curb, as Logan said, and I just can't turn the wheel anymore, which sucked. And I'm like, okay, what just happened? Alright, I lost power steering. That's my initial thought. The pump's gone. That sucks. I can't move the wheel that much, though. I'm drifting towards oncoming traffic. I'm gonna yank it as hard as I can to the right.
And hope there's not a car.
I got one clunk over. That was good enough. I start hitting my brakes. The guys around me are like, what's this idiot doing? I'm just a passenger at this point, except for my brakes. And I managed to get it up on the curb without doing damage. And then I managed to miss a tree by mere feet.
Yeah, but you would have been going significantly slower at that point, right?
Yeah, but the point is I managed to miss the tree. Yeah. And I didn't do that much damage to the grass either, we noticed.
Honestly, the tow truck did the most damage to the lawn. But that lawn is for a subdivision, so they can bite me.
Yeah, so after I've called the tow truck driver, and, he's on his way, I called Logan. I put my hazards on, and I'm sitting there. The car is screaming at me, so I turn it off. Obviously, the power steering pump wasn't happy. And, some guy going down the street in the opposite direction had the gall to yell out the window at me. With my flashes on, clearly in distress up on this curb.
About this part.
That's not a parking spot, jackass. I'm not here by my free will, okay?
There was no choice in being there.
So, and then Logan's told you the rest of the story, so when we get back to the driveway at our house, we put it up in the air. I'm trying to figure out if my ball joints are damaged, because that's what I thought the clunking was. And my dad comes up with the great idea to just take the tie rods off of the steering knuckle, and that would tell us if it's ball joints or if it's the steering rack.
Because we really didn't want it to be the steering rack, because that just was replaced a couple months back.
We took the tie rods off the steering knuckle, and lo and behold, it was the rack.
So that rack the whole point of this story was that rack we replaced, 3 months ago? 4 months ago now?
Got destroyed.
Has to be replaced again.
And that's not even the worst of it. I ordered this rack 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And the part just now, today, showed up.
Yep. So it's sitting in the back room. We're going to be putting it in tomorrow.
But that's not the end of the story. I still have more.
Wait.
Because yesterday I was getting fed up because this steering rack hadn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
And nobody knew where it was. So I click on Amazon and I go to, get a refund. And,
can you pause that one?
It's on cooldown. And I'm not happy, obviously. So I order a new, much more expensive one that will be here by Friday. And then, literal hours later, I get a notification that it's out for delivery Tuesday morning, which is today. So I'm not happy about that.
Did you cancel the other order?
I tried to. They're just like, well, you're SOL there, bud. Because it already shipped. So now I have to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably just...
I'm gonna return
Wait,
it. No, this is how do.
no, but no, that's not what I'm talking about.
So I have to wait for that one to arrive to return it and get my money back.
Is there no special box on the other side?
No. Yes.
Just remember, Seth, one of us is a gamer, and the other is not. Let me rephrase that. One of us is a gamer, and the other is playing the game. Trap. Okay, that was not worth it, most likely.
No.
You should just ride it back.
Nah, I'm just gonna run after it.
Win. So they don't just spawn one, like, there's no timing on the spawn, it's just as soon as one dies, the next one spawns? Okay.
So now that fiasco is going down, I'm
Yep.
gonna be putting this rack in tomorrow as well as a pump.
Oh,
and
yeah,
an electric fan, because electric fans are just better than mechanical ones.
Yep.
They don't rob Hurspers.
No, you get to keep all your Hurspers.
All of the Hurspers.
Yeah. Well, I think our story is mostly finished, and we just finished this shrine, so I think we're going to call this one an episode.
And we're just gonna